That's right! Welcome to the side of the ring because it's time for Ringside. Got a bunch of news lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, we're just gonna whack! F4W Online's Dave Meltzer says Roman Reigns' WrestleMania 40 opponent will either be The Rock or Cody Rhodes, or, quote, it could be a three-way. If it's gonna be The Rock, it should not be for the title. If it's going to be Cody, then yes, it should be for the title, and Cody should win. If it is going to be The Rock, then Cody should win at, I was going to say Cody should win at Chamber, but they're saying that Roman's not even going to be at Chamber, so I really don't know when Cody is going to get his opportunity, if he is ever going to get his opportunity, and man, listen, if I was a casual fan, I would be in love with the idea of Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40, okay? But I have the other half of my brain, and I know that this is not a smart idea, and it wouldn't make any sense if it was for the title. If this was just a one-off, not for the title, head of the table type deal, then I would be all for this, and I would have absolutely no problem with it. But I feel like because it's WrestleMania, they're going to go all out and they're going to have this be for the title, and that is a terrible idea, and I don't think they should do that. And I don't think that is what they're going to do. I think I should make that perfectly clear. I'm not 100% certain that is something that they are going to do. I think if you're going to have a match at WrestleMania and you're going to have The Rock there and you're going to have Roman there, then it's probably not going to be for the title. And if the title is going to get involved, then a three-way would make a lot more sense, because you could have The Rock eat the pin, or you could have Cody pin The Rock, or you could work with that. Something could happen within that space where you could still have The Rock, or you could have Roman go away with the title, or you could have Cody win it, and something can happen there, right? So I think that what they're going to do is they're more than likely going to have Roman versus Cody at Mania, and Cody is going to win. And if they do have The Rock versus Roman at Mania, it's not going to be for the title. I highly doubt they are going to give the title to The Rock, okay? I feel like that should go without saying. I highly doubt The Rock is going away with the championship at WrestleMania. That's not happening. Not that I don't see that happening. That's not happening. Moving over to AEW, Sports Illustrated notes that AEW is the favorite to sign Kazuchika Okada after he leaves New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okada, quote, remains close with AEW EVPs Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and has recently become friends with Bryan Danielson. More importantly, Tony Khan, quote, is willing to make Okada one of the highest paid performers in AEW. However, Triple H and Shawn Michaels have, quote, significant interest in signing Okada to a WWE contract. Multiple sources close to NJPW claim that Okada, quote, has always wanted to perform at a WrestleMania. AJ Styles and Finn Balor might be the, quote, right opponents for him on that stage. One big advantage for AEW is that Khan will sign Okada even if he wants to continue living in Japan, whereas Okada, quote, would need to relocate to Florida if he agrees to a deal with WWE. That's one thing that I definitely have always said about AEW is they have the advantage that the AEW wrestlers they can move their elbows around a little bit. You know what I mean? They can walk around in the space that they're in. Whereas WWE, you're kind of delegated to one specific location. And guys like Dragon Lee, oh man, it was somebody else. It's more than Dragon Lee. I'll tell you that for right now. It's more than Dragon Lee. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but the most recent not victim. I feel like the point is, the most recent person is Dragon Lee with his visa issues. So you're not immune to that, as good of a wrestler as you are, you're not immune to needing to get your documents and your passports and what have you in order if you want to be wrestling for WWE and you want to show up to a lot of different places. Again, WWE is lenient. They're more lenient than they were before with wrestlers appearing in certain places, right? With your Charlie Dempseys and other wrestlers that I can't particularly name at this moment in time. If I'm WWE, get in front of it right now. I mean, like immediately right now, okay? January is almost up in the next week. If I were you, I would immediately jump in front of it at this very moment and get there before AEW has any opportunity to get in front of that. Because if I'm AEW, I am racing to his house at this very moment in time. I'm putting down spike strips, oil slicks. I'm doing all that so that I can get to Okada's door before WWE can and telling him, hey, look, we've got all these great wrestlers. We've got Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, dream matches out the wazoo. You don't even have to worry about Japan here, Japan there. You go wherever you want to. You can do it in your backyard if you feel like it. But WWE could push them out of the way and go, hey, we've got WrestleMania, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Nakamura, any other wrestler under the sun that you feel like wrestling with, we've got them. We've got them here. We've got a WrestleMania. We could pay you. We could pay you good. And I could argue that we could pay you a lot better than AEW can pay you. And, you could be showcased to a more broader audience, and we could definitely get you over with the casual fans way better than AEW would be able to, because that's what you want to do. You want to be able to get past the zeitgeist. You want to be able to have every casual fan all over the world being like, wow, Kazuchika Okada, and then they look you up on your matches and all that sort of stuff. We can do that for you. I personally feel like WWE has the opportunity and the power to do something like that. But at the end of the day, it's all down to Okada. Okada has to be the one to be like, you know what I mean? It's the thing where the mom and the dad are standing in between the dog, and they're like, calling the dog over. The dog has to choose in its own brain, okay, well, who do I want to go with? Who do I like more at the end of the day? I said all that to say it's completely up to Okada. But if I had to choose, I think Okada should go with WWE. I think that Okada would do way better and reach way more of an audience and become way more popular in WWE because they don't know about him. AEW already does know about him, so he's kind of already going to reach a bit of a ceiling, you know what I mean? So I think WWE would be better because they could definitely showcase him, and I feel like WWE could reach a deal with New Japan, and WWE could collaborate with New Japan a lot better now that Tanahashi is president, and I think that could definitely open up a lot more opportunities. So at the end of the day, Okada should go to WWE, but that's just my personal opinion. Sticking with AEW, the Wrestling Observer newsletter says Mercedes Moné is expected to be in AEW after, quote, finishing up some acting commitments this month. However, quote, some in WWE believe there is still a shot for her in the Royal Rumble. I'm going to say the same exact thing that I said when I was talking about Okada. If I'm WWE, get in front of it. Don't just sit there and wait and see what she says. If I'm WWE, you need to strike while the iron is hot. Because if you take too long, then Moné will, have her own opinion, about whichever company she wants to sign with, and it could not be WWE. You know what I mean? AEW could just be there, in that moment, and WWE could be obligated with something else. And just because AEW is there as Moné is turning her head, there you go. Moné could go with AEW. If WWE, if you want Moné so badly, you need to get in front of AEW before AEW can even conjure up the thought of getting Moné on their roster. And that is down to whether or not WWE wants Moné on the roster that badly. And I feel like they do. I feel like they've got a couple other, they've got a couple other spoons in the pot to stir around. Moné's not the one and only person that they're thinking of putting on the roster. They've got a couple other people. But the overarching point is that if you want them on the roster, you gotta show them that you want them on the roster. You have to tell them that you want them on the roster. You have to say out loud in front of them, I want you on the roster. You can't sit there and wait and see what happens. You have to jump in front of it before somebody else grabs the little ball from the Hungry Hippos arena. You know what I mean? So I think that overall, it's starting to sound a little bit like Moné's going to AEW. That's what I'm starting to understand here. I think WWE is kind of backing off a little bit. They're kind of like pumping the brakes a little. They're putting the burners on. They're slowing down. They don't really want Moné as much as they did before, maybe because they're thinking what I'm thinking, and it sounds like she's going to be going with AEW more than WWE again, because the talks with them sort of fell out between money and all that sort of stuff. So I'm leaning off the WWE. I'm kind of leaning a little bit more to AEW. I could be wrong, but I'm now moving over to, I'm thinking that Moné is going with AEW. I could be wrong again, but we'll have to wait and see. Moving back to WWE, according to Meltzer, quote, those in WWE say Austin Theory did not suffer a concussion last week on SmackDown when his match against Carmelo Hayes was stopped by the referee. Theory is, quote, considered okay. So there's not too much to say about this one. I'm completely over the moon to hear that Austin Theory is not seriously injured, and I'm glad to know that Carmelo Hayes is also not seriously injured. He was on the recent NXT, so there you go. That pretty much tells you everything you need to know about that. And again, glad to know that my A-Town Down boss man is doing perfectly fine. They are running the match back next Friday, so there you go. Hopefully they don't do the spot again. Glad to know he's okay. And yeah. There we go. Glad to know that everything's good. Finally, earlier this week, AEW wrestler Chris Jericho filed to trademark the phrase, quote, seek and destroy. So there's not really much to say about this. This is just Jericho doing one of his quotes, you know, I'm a wizard, drink it in, you just made the list, that sort of thing. I don't necessarily know what seek and destroy could potentially mean. Maybe it's just something that he's just gonna seek and destroy, huh? What do we think? What do we think seek and destroy means? Like, imagine he's looking at like Big Bill or something like that. Like, you're gonna, like, how would you even incorporate that? You know, you're gonna need to, I, Chris Jericho, I'm going to seek and destroy. I'm gonna seek and destroy you. Okay, so it seems like it's gonna be, potentially, I don't know, it sounds like it's gonna be a verb type deal. I hope that it's not gonna be, you know what? It could be a finisher. Well, it's a phrase, so... Well, I mean, I don't know. It could be a finisher. That could be the name for, that could be the new name for his Judas effect. You know what I mean? Like, it could just be him being like, you know what? Big Bill, you're an asshole. And at what's the next movie? At Revolution, I'm gonna seek and destroy you. I don't know. Listen, all right. He can do whatever he wants. Okay, he's Chris Jericho. I mean, who the fuck am I? Okay, listen. He can do whatever he wants. All right. What are we talking about? All right, so WrestleMania 40 opponent will either be The Rock or Cody, or it could be a three-way. If it's going to be The Rock, don't be for the title. If it's going to be with Cody, be for the title. If it's going to be a three-way, that's perfectly fine. You can have Cody win, or you can have Roman win. Either way. Again, Rock, no title, okay? Man, please don't do that. Lord have mercy. Okay, Rollins vs. Punk, still the current plan for WrestleMania. Great, good to know. Latest report, injuries, PW Insider says he thinks Rollins should be good before Mania, but other events before that could be questionable. So again, Rumble, not happening. Wasn't scheduled anyway, perfectly fine. Chamber, maybe? I don't 100% know. It depends on a lot of things. If he's getting surgery, I would make Mania questionable, you know? But again, I think the most set in stone is Rumble, no. Chamber, maybe. Mania, yes. Okay. Listen, okay, AEW and WWE both want Okada. It depends where Okada wants to go. If you gun to my head, I would say that Okada should go with WWE because I think that WWE could help Okada become a household name, okay? I think that WWE has the components to do something like that with Okada, and AEW could only get Okada to reach a certain ceiling, whereas WWE, I feel like, could help Okada break through that ceiling and pass the zeitgeist. But that's just my personal opinion, okay? Monet is expected to be in AEW. I'm leaning on AEW more now than I was leaning on WWE. It seems like WWE is less likely to do something with her now than they were before, and at one point, I was saying that she should go to WWE, but if she doesn't want to go, she doesn't want to go, and I think she's potentially going to be at AEW. Theory is fine. I'm so glad that Theory is fine. I'm so glad that Carmelo is fine. I'm glad that they have both since moved on. They're running the match back. Hopefully nothing bad happens in that match. Give them your energy. And Jericho filed to trademark the phrase "seek and destroy." Did I miss anything by any chance? Rollins? No. Okay, just making sure. I kind of like leapt over the whole AEW thing. Anyway, Jericho filed to trademark the phrase "seek and destroy." Could just be another drink it in, made the list type deal. Maybe it's a new finishing maneuver. I don't 100% know. Again, he can do whatever he wants. Okay, who am I? Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.